Have you heard of this dude? I'm kinda neutral on him.
Yeah, I don't like this guy, but you know what? I'm gonna dox a 16-year-old under the idea it could very well not be him or could be him. I'm sorry, what?
And so we get a part 2 to the Pumpkin Gentleman situation. The fact this BS is still going on for almost a year is insane, but this is significantly worse. Far past regular hater activity, actually. And like last time, pre-warning, this is for older audiences, so younger audiences, skedaddle. This video covers the topics of suggestive and NSFW works, as well as the topic of CP distribution, so if these topics make you uncomfortable, please click off. I also want to know, while a lot of the pictures of what is claimed to be Pumpkin is everywhere right now, along with other private information like his potential name, it will not be in this video to respect the privacy of whoever this teenager may be. This is also why I'll be keeping the people that quote-unquote exposed him anonymous. Hey yappers, it's Bree, and just when I thought we left the Pumpkin Gentleman stuff in 2024, I am being dragged by my ankles to make my very first part 2 on a situation. You know it's bad when the part 2 from me pops out, cause I do not like making those. But before we get into the absolute mess that is the Pumpkin Gentleman situation, take 2, the super thank yous. As usual, sorry if names are said wrong, and if you aren't here, you'll be in the next one. Kazuna Endy, Forg364, Lollipop BG, and Navia Edits. Who is Pumpkin the Gentleman? Well, if you are in the loop of the art community, he's a popular artist mainly on Twitter and TikTok. He's known for his art, animations, and controversies. He's had a trail of controversy, a lot of which was sordid or disproven, though that didn't exactly make the hate back off. I have an entire part 1 with his old controversies, but dear lord, this is bad. I also go a bit more into depth on who he is and his old controversies, along with my debunks of a lot of the claims against him in said video, which will probably be linked below. Remind me if I don't, but I'm sure I will, but I recommend you watch that first so some things stayed here make more sense. But you can like this guy, dislike him, hate him even. But what you can't do is dox a child that you think is him. And that is exactly what happened. But what is this new situation? Oh boy. To summarize, absolute agony and terror that made me want to rip my skin off in the making of this. But for the actual version, a lot of alleged private information came out about Pumpkin the Gentleman that has been spread everywhere. All because of 3 accounts that I will again not name because it's the dox information of a minor, regardless if it's him or not. Plus, as I'm writing the script for this video, some of the accounts were suspended. Pumpkin is being accused of being a 16-year-old instead of 19. He's also accused of being a female at birth, which is just not important. He's being accused of having CP. There's claims that he faked his ID. A lot of these claims came from people who said they know him in real life, but they're also from Discord and it's all hearsay, so I'll get into that later, but we don't know. And after these claims, some of the accounts have gone on to leak the photos of the 16-year-old, their school, their family, some family photos, addresses, and more. All of which is doxing, since doxing is the publishing of private information relating to one's identity. And you might say, Bree, we don't need to know the definition of this is pointless. But apparently I do, because a lot of people in this situation forgot what doxing was. It's also really weird because some of the accounts are also trying to cancel people that interacted with Pumpkin, but if this was unknown information that you guys just released, wouldn't these people have not known? This just further proves my theory of malicious intent, at least with some of the users. I think if not malicious, the others are just heavily irresponsible and should have handed this off to someone who could actually handle this if they were concerned. And also, most recently, that made me have to update the script, someone allegedly hacked his card to make him say that he was 17. But we'll get into that later. It's also important to note that the people who originally exposed him have been constantly on his back for a while now, making fun of him and more. So there is a little bit of a history between these people and Pumpkin. And the reason this began is because one of the accounts got blocked by him, so they basically just said, well, screw it, I'm gonna leak everything then. And according to Pumpkin, they allegedly threatened to dox his cousin if he didn't admit that it was actually him, but since it wasn't, he didn't. Lokata went into this on their stream, which has since been taken down.
Editing Bree here, it's actually back up now.
But it's a lot, ain't it? So let's go through it all in a bit more depth. And I want to clarify this now. This video is not going to be a definite yes or no to, are these claims true? I will come at every claim skeptically, because this is the internet. This video is mainly to criticize the handling of the situation, and to make you question every claim, because I feel like nobody should be saying with confidence that this is true or false, because we do not know. I don't think we should be saying, yeah, this is 100% true, or on the other end, this is 100% disproven. We genuinely don't know. But on to the claims. First, the claims of Pumpkin being a teenage girl that was doxxed. First off, I was able to luckily find this screenshot of his story. It was actually posted from a few different accounts, along with many claiming that they saw the story. On said story, he claimed the leaks were in fact not him, but a relative. This leads me to believe that it could be his cousin, who happens to share the same name as the leaked information. Interesting. But a lot of people claim his cousin doesn't exist with no damning proof that 100% confirms this theory. But I mean, it could always be a possibility, we don't know, since I do see where some are coming from. The proof for his cousin being fake being similar art styles, which Pumpkin explained that she helped him learn how to draw. The handwriting being similar when it's very common for family to share similar handwriting. The account creation dates, which were 3 years apart and proved nothing. That and the fact that his cousin looks similar, but they have different build, eye colors, and just analyzing the photos of him versus the alleged cousin, there are differences. I don't know, I'm still on the fence for the cousin speculation to be honest. Not enough proof to prove or disprove it. And a lot of people also claim the fact that he had a cosplay of his Sona, and he said that it didn't fit him, so he gave it to his cousin, but also later on being worn by him. And they use it as proof to be like, well, you said it didn't fit you. But he said the suit didn't fit him, not the mask. And in the clips of Pumpkin that he claimed to be him, he never wore the suit, only the mask. So I don't know about that, but there's also the way that every time he shows text screenshots between him and his cousin, a lot of people think that it sounds scripted, which I do kind of see, so I completely get that. And there are also many videos of people making speculations on the cousin. I'm not going to go far into the cousin stuff because it's very confusing. But don't be like, you're trying so hard to disprove this because you're glazing. No, I've criticized him in the past, and I will be open to the possibility of these claims if there's enough actual proof. But not only is the proof not damning enough, but it's hard to believe when there's genuine weirdos out there speculating every part of his life. So this video will be made with the idea of his cousin in mind. But I'm open to the possibility that they are fake, as long as there's damning proof. I just don't want to say the cousin is false till I see really good proof. Again, it's a huge possibility, but after looking at this entire situation and having a whole crash out over it, I'm questioning everything. But let's be real though, on the topic of speculation, speaking generally, y'all want to expose him for being a liar so bad? Some of you guys can't even see how fucking weird it is to spend countless time out of the day digging in hopes he lies about anything. I'm talking about since the start of his controversies. You guys are obsessed with the idea that he's lying about anything. Y'all have speculated his race, body size, gender, brother, cousin, where he lives, age, mental illnesses, and some of y'all speculated the legitimacy of his abuse. At what point will people realize this is a real person and this is actually kinda weird? Not even kinda. Please go outside, because if you were to explain what you spent your time online doing, they would think you're an actual creep, because this is weird. That is a huge issue of mine that I've seen since the start. As of right now, a little bit of skepticism and digging is understandable. People are saying he lied about his entire identity. But before, y'all, can the air committee just draw for once? You guys are not the next MatPat. Stop trying to dig for every detail about this man. The people posting these leaks also acknowledged it could be him or his cousin. They weren't sure. I should note that as well. If that's the case, going through with the doxing of someone is insane because you know there's a chance it's not even him. That's disgusting. And it's clear the leaks look similar to Pumpkin, but are missing some of the piercing, some of the facial features seem different. And even if it was the case that Pumpkin was 16, I'll get into that later, because boy do I have stuff to say on that. The next claim is him being female at birth, which again, I only bring up to point out that it doesn't matter. The leaked photos of the clothed lower area parts from his 18-up account come back, and they're claimed to be fake, which again, who actually cares? You guys have claims of CP on your list. You might want to recheck your priorities. None of this actually matters. Who actually gives a shit about gender and pronouns right now? It's weird to speculate this stuff, and how do people not see it? Same with the fat claims. People are saying he was role-playing being chubby, when Pumpkin has said himself where he grew up, people, or at least the people in his life growing up, considered him chubby or fat, which is why he saw himself as that. He also sees himself differently, and I believe he has stated he speculated having body dysmorphia. I think it's in his Lewis McClung response video, which people have reacted to and I'm pretty sure have archived so you can find it. Again though, stupid claims in contrast to other accusations. Next up, the CP claims, which is ironic considering some of the people claiming this are literally redistributing what they believe to be CP, which is just great. I say that with heavy sarcasm. That are just suggestive pictures like the clothed lower area picture that I mentioned. Real or not, still kinda weird to repost. But the CP in question is of his NSFWR and suggestive and explicit photos of himself. People are trying to frame him as a pedo who has CP, when in actuality, it's the possibility of a teenager posting themselves. Both still wrong, but not the same at all. It's very clear people are choosing their words carefully to make him come off as a pedo. Which I wonder, if you truly believe he's 16, why are we more worried about posting his private information and talking about stupid claims like whether or not he's a dude, rather than being worried about the potential minor sexualizing themselves and contacting someone who can help first? This is what stumps me. because these people are constantly joking, bringing up irrelevant things, doxing him. But are we not worried or concerned at all? None of them have shown any concern whatsoever. These people are genuinely so blinded by hate, they do not show an ounce of genuine care or concern. Again, some going as far as trying to cancel people who interacted with him, despite them not knowing if this is the case. How would they know? Something screams bad faith. And I'm not saying if this was his age, it would be considered an excuse, or saying that he'd be right for doing so. Absolutely not. If this is him, he was making a space with adults and lying to share NSFW content. That is incredibly wrong, as it's endangering, and also just generally invasive. It puts a lot of adults in risky situations, and puts the minor in a very dangerous one. But why is this all being handled in such a manner? This whole situation was handled so poorly, and that is a huge issue. Whether or not this is him, this situation could have been handled better, and that is why this video is here. All of this leads me to believe that you are not worried about a potential minor going to these lengths to sexualize himself, especially with a very open history of him talking about sexual traumas and the effects that it has caused. Also guys, let's not consider contacting his abusers to claim he's lying about them online. Can't believe that has to be said. The people publicizing this information aren't doing this as far as I know, but I know many of the commenters and bystanders were saying this, and it's disgusting. The fact that some of you are more worried about doxing him to be internet vigilantes, or to seem morally correct, is insane. Sure, if this is all true, what he did was wrong, but doxing him or posting any information, knowing how many people hate him and will be very willing to dox him, is insane. To say you didn't think it would get this far, knowing how hated he is, and the fact that it's Twitter for God's sakes, rings a bell that sings bullshit. You do not care at all. That or you're incredibly stupid. Obviously, I get wanting people to know who they're supporting, especially when he surrounds himself around adults as a possible minor, and sharing inappropriate content, and how you'd need proof for these claims, but how this has been handled is so poor. Again, the jokes, the jabs, along with stupid unrelated information being thrown out there ruins your credibility and people's will to listen. But I'll get more into the handling of this all soon. Anyway though, on to the fake ID. The only proof they had of this is showing it's possible to obtain fake IDs, but get this. The intent around fake IDs is that they look just like real ones. So I really don't consider this proof. I'm really open to the possibility of it being fake, and when I make claims like this, I'm not saying that it's completely false, but I'm saying it's not reliable proof to make it 100% that this is him. So keep an open mind. Because I want to say again, so my words aren't twisted, this video will not be debunking or proving his age, because I do not know. With how much recent information has made this all confusing, even if it's probably fake, giving a definite yes or no is stupid. There's so much. Nothing in this situation is enough to be confirmation or debunking. Moving on though, because the accusations like the last one don't need much time of day other than simple comments. But the people claiming Pumpkin is a 16-year-old with apparent proof is a group of people on Discord that apparently know him in real life, and whose means of proof is hearsay, and the fact that they allegedly have photos of the girl who was leaked. I respect that they don't want to share the photos, but either way, there's no actual proof that this person is actually him. And again, this could very well be his cousin since, family looks alike, and the cousin isn't proven to be 100% fake. I already went over that though. Plus, there's claims on the other end, where some of Pumpkin's friends are coming out to say that he is an adult and this is fabricated. So if you take their word, you should take these people's word into consideration too. Hearsay on both ends. On to the card information. A few days later, in fact today, the day I'm recording this, I had to postpone recording because I woke up to new information. Apparently Pumpkin's card was updated to this. My return. Hi guys, I had to leave the internet because of something I wanted to clear up. Yes, I am redacted. Yes, I'm 17 years of age. Yes, everything that one of the users said was true about me, along with the evidence they presented. I didn't leave on my own. I left because my dad took away my electronics and forced me to quit all of social media. I'm using a device that my dad doesn't know that I have. Y'all may be returning soon in the future, perhaps, but it's gonna take me time. Now, at first, people went crazy. It was on his official card linked to his Discord, which is still up, confirmed by many. Except the card has now been taken down. And people freaked out until Gokato, someone who's conversed with Pumpkin in the past, managed to get in contact with him. And this is where he states that it was hacked, and the message was not even how he speaks. Which is true. look at how he talks to anyone. It's not how he talks. Even a friend of mine who was openly criticized him online had looked back at DMs from him to show that he does not speak this way. Some differences he showed is the random capitalization, which he doesn't use. He doesn't use apostrophe for a lot of words, nor does he type something like that. He also showed his card profile from his side, and there's no sites anymore. But with all this being said, it could still very well be a lie on his part. Gokado and others are talking to him behind the scenes, and have said that it all seems fishy. There's apparent backtracking and such. So we don't know, which is why I won't say his words are true or false. But it's important to take both sides into account. I just gave what his explanation was, and you all can come to your conclusions, but remember those are not fact. There will be no definite answers until there's undeniable proof that cannot be debunked. Regardless of everything I listed, doxing and leaking these photos are still weird. No matter how much you hate someone because no matter who it actually is, a real 16-year-old is at risk no matter what the case is. Because whether or not it's actually Pumpkin, like I said earlier, this action was extremely reckless and could endanger whoever the doxed kid is. Completely irresponsible and could have been handled way better. They also contacted this person's family to let them know their kid, or possibly their cousin, quote-unquote, was pretending to be a man online and sexualizing themselves. It's just insane they leaked the father's full name just for him to be harassed when, again, we aren't even fully sure if it's him or the cousin. They also didn't show a response from the father, so I can't comment on how he responded, but he deleted a lot of photos from his Facebook showing a clear sign that his whole family is in discomfort and worry because internet moral high ground idiots are actively ruining their lives. Even if this was him, leave it at the message and do not put his information on blast. Problem is being taken care of, done and done. I completely understand they want people to know if Pumpkin was actually a teenager, because if he was interacting with a lot of adults with a lot of NSFW. Them reaching out is not the issue. That's completely understandable. If it's the case, it's dangerous, and people, mainly adults who interacted with him, would deserve to know. And they would need proof for people to actually believe them. But this video is to show, this way is not the way to go. I think they should have kept things private and contacted the father, again, privately. Make sure completely that this kid is actually Pumpkin, which they did not. They were unsure, posted a bunch of information, then celebrated they got in contact with the supposed father. Contacting the father privately should have been first, not only to make sure it was him and that Pumpkin was getting help, but also not to put a random teenager on blast before anything is settled. After talking to the father, they could have suggested maybe a public response from one of Pumpkin's accounts before getting offline entirely, since a lot of adults unknowingly interacted with him, and coming clean would have been good. Like, if that's what they wanted, at least do it right, my god. And if that didn't work, figure it out from there. But this was possibly the worst route you could have taken, and it was incredibly irresponsible. It's complicated, I get it. And to try and hope for the best in some of these people, maybe some of the people just wanted the information out there as soon as possible, so people are aware of who they're interacting with. But things like this take a bit of time and care to make sure it's properly handled. And again, maybe this information should have been passed to someone who could have handled this better, because it seems like a bunch of immature kids are doing this. And I just want to say again, the whole Pumpkin hate really didn't sit well with me from the start. People didn't criticize things he did wrong, but nitpicked every single little thing, and so many desperately attempted to be the next dad fit joke. And there were also just many genuine racists and hate on fat people within his comments for no reason. It was weird. Like, y'all are trying to hide behind a wall to be a terrible person, and it's pathetic coward behavior. But this is a level past blatant bullying, doxing a child, and spreading it? The constant Pumpkin Gentlemen videos were annoying, but this is downright evil. And like the internet does, they spread it with no regard. But it's TikTok and Twitter, the terrible tease, so I'm not surprised. Let's say it's Pumpkin though. What is the gain from releasing his personal information on blast instead of handling it privately until it's settled? Or at least making things done more responsibly. If this is the case, I hold concern that Pumpkin was going that far to sexualize himself. Again, it would not be right with what he did. But at that point, you should have thought, oh crap, let's make sure someone who can help knows first so he gets offline and gets help. Then we figure out where to go next. I think this could have made it all a lot less confusing as well, because it all just started a long process of chaos. It seemed that nobody is concerned for his well-being. Yeah, he screwed up majorly if this is the case. But if this is true, this is a 16-year-old who clearly needs help, and online harassment isn't helping. Stop pretending to care if you act like this. If it's true, getting offline would have been the best option, which is what he did. He endured too much harassment anyway, and I'm sure it wasn't healthy on him. So being offline isn't a bad idea either way. I just wish it was by his decision though, rather than having to deal with this to be the factor that drives him away. Also, people are using the fact that he deleted his account as proof, but if it's a relative like he potentially claimed, seeing their information get out there would make me stay offline for their safety too. Or maybe The people attempting to find out everything about you could scare you off. Or maybe the fact that people are doxing random teenagers. This is a reasonable reaction. It's not proof. And people are just weirdly happy and excited about potentially putting him or others in danger. Pumpkin defender or not, we should all be agreeing that doxing and posting any private information online of someone you especially believe to be 16 is actually deranged and downright evil. And yes, that includes faces and names, you morons. How on any planet did you not think that would encourage people to find more information of him? On again, I must reiterate, on Twitter! Twitter of all places! And you know what, if I'm wrong at any point in this video, and a claim is actually disproven, or if things get for sure proven, I will clarify probably in my pinned comment and description, and probably make a community post, since I did express a lot of skepticism on many things, and I only want to reveal the truth. I only hold skepticism because this is the internet. That is also why I try to leave it open. But my point still stands either way. Let's not dox kids and actually handle this properly. Because this could either be an innocent kid, or a kid who needs help and had their situation horribly handled. No matter what way you spin it, all of these people are assholes that doxed a kid and or put them on blast. And even went as far as to creating a Discord server dedicated to the accusations. But yeah, that's it for today. This entire situation is sickening. For the love of God and everything holy, let's leave the pumpkin stuff behind after this, okay? At this point, y'all cannot possibly drag it. He is gone. Also, friendly reminder that doxing is illegal, chat. Insane how that seems to be an unknown fact. Comment your thoughts though, and if you have any information that I didn't cover, let me know. And if I missed something in my past video from his old controversies and you have questions, comment those and I'll try my best to answer. Try to be respectful in the comments, and yeah. I hope this wasn't as confusing and at least a bit helpful. And reminder to not take what I say as gospel because again, none of this is a true answer because I don't have one. The only thing I'm sure of is that this was handled badly and there is no definite confirmation or debunking until there's actual proof. Until now, we don't have that. This video isn't to defend Pumpkin or to go against him. It's simply to navigate the situation and to open your minds to skepticism on everything. That's all though, and if you haven't, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And if you're wondering about the brushes, they're all on Procreate. I don't use Ibis Paint anymore, so as of right now, no brush codes. The brush name should be in the description though. But as always, love your art, love others, and love yourselves. Bye-bye!